impact your industry. In the book, Noise to Navigation, the book that my twin sister and I wrote over the past 100 to 150 days, we've been talking about generative AI since the end of 2022. And we realized that the impact of what is happening in generative AI is going to change the way we look at education, real estate, if you're an entrepreneur, big business. And some of us are already behind, and some of us are way ahead. And you learn from your mistakes. You learn that maybe, just maybe, you went too fast and you probably put some things into generative AI that shouldn't be there because the stuff that you put in becomes somewhat public. If you're in education and you're a leader in education and you're thinking, there's no way I'm touching this, well, that's typical because education tends to be 5 to 10 years behind. And we know that because when the internet came about, we didn't want the internet to be available. We know that we tend to not jump on the new initiatives because we want to go slow, but sometimes we go way too slow. But when it comes to big businesses and universities, right now, universities like UCLA, Yale, Harvard, they're in some of the small universities and colleges, they're using generative AI and letting students figure out how to use it where it's impacting their learning and not doing all the work for them. Why? Because if we teach our students how to use it, they won't use it to do the work for them. They'll use it to do the work with them, which, kind of like a think tank or an AI buddy. Now, there's always caution in how to use generative AI because what will happen is there are some students, especially younger students, will start to think it's like a friend. Social media did that for children. Like if they didn't get likes, they felt bad. Now, my generation, we tend to not care so much about whether or not you like us online. That's because we had friends and we didn't have the internet. We didn't have access to that. We were outside all the time. But the internet and generative AI, because it's like immediate feedback, you can get caught in a loop. So you have to be cautious. And that is why I believe that companies, agencies, universities, and K-12 education really needs to be in front of helping students learn how to use it. Now, there are some countries like I know that in Singapore, students are in maybe early 2023, students are as early as 3 years old started using generative AI because you can use the mic and talk right into it. But there are guides and teachers. So I want to show you an impact radar, and it's in the book that my sister and I wrote. It's in this book. I don't give you the actual radar, I give you the research if you want to look at the impact radar, how it's going to affect businesses. You can assume that if you're in education, it will impact us too, because there was a TikTok recently that I listened to, and the gentleman who's a teacher was interested in generative AI, and a student said to the teacher, you know, those of us that know how to use it are using it to help us. But I noticed some of my friends who are economically disadvantaged are using it to do the homework for them and turn it in. They're not using it as learners. And he was so intrigued that students who don't have guides, because he's guiding them how to use it, are using it in a way that is not helpful. It's somewhat harmful. If you gave your child a phone at an early age and you thought it's just a phone, it's not harmless, and then they figured out all of the apps, and then you're wondering why they are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, connecting with strangers. We learned that with the Xbox and PlayStation. We have to be the adults in the room, need to be guiding children. So let me show you. Let me open this up. Let me show you the impact radar. This is the impact radar. Well, and actually, let me not do that. Let me stop sharing because I'm not showing the right screen. This is the impact radar. That's the impact radar. This is the impact radar. I show myself. That is so funny. This is the impact radar. And this emergent tech impact radar. And it looks like a lot to look at when you first see it. And the document that you just saw, I explain it, and I actually took generative AI and uploaded it and said, explain this in easier terms. Now, when I first looked at this, I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing because it gives you the mass, like in scientific terms, almost like the amount of impact, like the if it's very high, like how it's really going to impact people. So in the middle and anywhere else that you see this diamond, it's a very, very, very high impact. And if you look in the middle of this diagram where it says generative AI virtual assistant, right now that's a high impact. And then if you look at the range in this color here, it's now. We have generative AI virtual assistants. Like it is happening, and there are people who don't even know about it. Now you can also see some of the other things over here. And you have reasoning models. We know that because we have ChatGPT, we have domain language, and some of these, whether you understand them or not, let me just show you. We have context window models. We have if you look over here, let me explain one more thing. We have these different rings, and then you have each one of these sections. So generative AI. So these are the applied generative AI. This in this section is the model-centric technologies, the model performance and data frontier. And you're thinking, this is too much. Don't worry. If you ever want to read an article and you're like, this is way over my head, anybody can read. But if you need some help, my assistant will help you. So I did this in generative AI and said, explain it. So model performance right here. Smarter thinking, improving how AI learns, reasons, and performs. Data frontier, new inputs, expanding what AI can see, process, and learn from. And it's telling you the range, like in 2 to 5 years. Applied generative AI, real world use, turning AI into practical tools for working and learning. That's what we're doing with ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity or Copilot. And then model-centric technologies, AI infrastructure, building the systems, governance, and safety layers that support AI, 5 to 10 years. We are so behind. Even once it came out, ChatGPT or OpenAI realized that that was a huge impact on the industry. Like, oh my gosh, how are we going to keep companies safe? How are we going to keep their data safe? We learn that even with the internet. We learn that in education. Like, we have to be very aware of what we're making available to students, what we're making available to staff as well. So again, right now, the impact areas that I would really focus on are the 0 to 1 and the 1 to 2. And it shows you the colors. Like this is everything in the middle here is what's impacting us now. Now, let me just go back to this and show you that the things that we apply generative or real world use, that's where we live. The public, the general public. If you're a programmer, that's different. So if we're looking at the applied generative AI, we're living over here. Intelligent simulation, AI code assistance, generative AI enabled apps. We know because we all have, maybe not all of us, we have something, whether it's Copilot or ChatGPT, Cloud, Perplexity, Gemini. The apps are already here. AI molecular modeling. This one is in the 1 to 3 range. Most of these are right now in generative AI virtual assistants. We already know we're here. And this is not something that's going away. So I talk about this in the first chapter. And just let me tell you, it's the push and the pull. Finding power in the push and the pause, like really, what is the push and the pull of generative AI? Like, when do you know you have the Goldilocks effect? When is it just right to go? Are you going too fast and you're so fast that you're creating chaos, meaning you're putting stuff out there that shouldn't be out there yet? Are you going too slow that you're making yourself become obsolete? Because you don't want to create your obsolescence, mean you're going away. And we know that's true because that happened to Blockbuster, Montgomery Ward, and now Sears. If you're not even sure what those are, that's why they're gone, because Netflix took over Blockbuster. And then we know we had Borders. Oh, I loved a good book at Borders. You could sit down, but they missed the mark. They didn't go online, and Amazon, whoop, scooped up all of us because it was quick, fast, and I could get my book in a day or two. So how fast is too fast? How slow is too slow? And where is the Goldilocks effects? Like if you don't know what I'm talking about, like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, like it's just right. It's so just right that it's the way you want to move forward using generative AI. Now, don't let the emerging tech impact radar feel overwhelming. That's not the point. The point is that we are now using generative AI. And if you're not using it as a company, find someone that can help you. Find someone that can move you forward. Now, next Friday, or this coming Friday, actually, my sister and I are speaking at the National Association of Realtors. We're doing a 20-minute TED Talk on using generative AI as a thought partner AI buddy. If you're a real estate agent and you're going to be there, please check out the session. It'll be so much fun. In the meantime, in the description, you can grab the book. It is half off. It's going back to $9.99, either the day of the conference or after the conference. And we would love for you to have it. You can buy two for the price of one right now. And it's a great read. If you read the preface, it really tells you you only need to read the chapter that you need. And my favorite chapter is actually chapters 2 and 3, like looking at the prompt engineering formula, which feels like a lot, and then how to actually use the prompt formula in the book. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, and tell me how you're using generative AI and how it is impacting what you're doing in the future and